All right, you're recording?
Everything's on? All right, the time being 5:30, we're going to call to order the Tilton Northfield Fire EMS Commissioners meeting. All right, so 5:30. All right, well, first thing we're going to start off with is public comments from members of the district and employees of the district. All right, I believe, did anyone from the public want to speak? I figured.
You need to stand up because I can't see all. I can do it if I'm, nope, you sure? Yeah. So, I want to address the actions of 3 members of the Fire District Building Committee who had a meeting outside the knowledge of the majority of the committee. I believe it was a phone meeting. I don't know how it all took place, but it took place. 3 of 7 members who had no right at all. They can talk all they want because they don't have a quorum. You can talk all you want, you can't make decisions. They made decisions and carried those decisions out without knowledge of the majority of the board.
And this was the building committee?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not aware of it, go ahead.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
you can't be doing that. They forwarded questions to 2 possible vendors that nobody else knew about. All committee business, just like all your business, has to be in public, has to be voted on, and the majority rules. I brought it up at the meeting, and everybody is, oh, you're overreacting, no big deal. Well, I'm willing to bet the Attorney General might think something different. I'm asking the commissioners, because it's a subcommittee of the commissioners. They have to follow the same rules you do. I'm asking the commissioners to step up, take action, and remove those people from that committee. And here's where I'm going. You want to be able to go to the public with an honest proposal where everything is done up front, nothing is done behind the scenes, because you want public buy-in. You need 2/3, because this is going to be a bond. You need 2/3. You pause the committee 2 or 3 times for things in my mind weren't necessary. This is necessary. If you expect the public to have any admiration, trust in that committee, you can't have people going behind people's backs, making decisions, carrying on. Those questions that they decided needed to be asked were presented as committee questions. They're not committee questions. They're 3 people of 7's questions. We've been kicked hard several times looking for bond money for a fire station. I want a fire station. I've said that from the beginning. I wanted to be on that committee. I've been on the committee. We've done a great bunch of work. Had some turnover. Unfortunate turnover, but it was turnover. Now, we've had 3 people throw the committee off the bridge. I expect the commission to take action. Because after any action, I don't know what will happen, but you're going to have an awful hard time because this is in the public. There are people who are not going to support a fire station as proposed anyway. The chief's one of them. So you need all the buy-in you can get. You've got to look the people in the eye and be able to tell them, this is what we did. This is why we need what we got. And you know what? We have people now, I'm one of them, that want a new fire station that wouldn't support any other plan. You can't let this go unnoticed. You cannot sit back and do nothing about it. It is not an overreaction.
Do you know who they are, John?
I do.
Okay.
I know the 3.
Okay.
I think part of
We're
this,
missing a commissioner tonight, I guess, right?
he's sick tonight, yeah. So,
I mean, everybody's sick.
so
I
part of
don't know
this
anybody doesn't know
probably
someone
should
who's
be
not
in
sick.
there because
Yeah,
of,
yeah, that's why I say, if you know.
yeah, I know the details of it.
You gotta do something.
Okay.
You got to.
So this will probably lead into non-public for discussion of it, obviously, and then coming out of it after, but I think.
Well, here it is. You know about it.
Yep.
Whatever the commission chooses to do, the commission chooses to do.
Correct.
I just
But
hope they choose to do the right
discussions
thing.
and stuff
I get
like
it.
that, you know, we need
I
to
know.
discuss it in non-public.
I'm not saying it shouldn't go that way.
And
I'm
we've
just telling you.
already planned for
I
a
expect,
sheet tonight because of it.
I expect the commission to take action.
Understand?
Oh, and can I do one thing? Is Wednesday gonna be your thing? Today's Wednesday, you guys usually meet Tuesday. I can't, I usually don't come to you because I can't.
This one I think was because of the holiday. We haven't gotten into, I know you would like to see it changed to a different night. That isn't an immediate right now happening, just with everything going on, trying to get through the holidays and now getting into this, but it's something that can be looked at.
It's a good start. See, it can be done on a Wednesday. It's a great start.
There's potentials and stuff like that. We have to look at everything and don't make a medical call here, please.
No, I never do.
That is something to consider down the road, but with elections and getting the warrants and stuff like that, it's something that can always be brought up to the committee again. As of right now, it's still Tuesday for another month or two, to answer that question.
Okay, thank you.
So that's good. Anyone else from?
Yeah, I'd like to, actually, I'm Dennis Manning, for the record, Dennis Manning, Tilton. First off, I understand we have some vacancies on the facilities meeting, and I'd like to express my interest in being placed on the committee to represent Tilton. Second, to address Kevin's stuff, he's absolutely right. You know what, if you want to call it Robert's rules, whatever, that was violated. However, I think removing everybody from the committee, like he's expressed, I disagree with that. I just think you're going to throw, a cog in the wheel or a monkey wrench in the wheel, because frankly, you know, this committee, I was a commissioner representative for a committee, a building committee, so I understand what it takes. It's a lot of hard work. I can appreciate it. I know I've been there. It's been shot down, this, that, and so forth. But you know, you start to keep removing people. I mean, there's a lot of people, as you know, from my personal point of view, is those questions. I was here at that meeting, obviously. The questions, they were innocuous as far as I'm concerned. They really looking at those questions, it was due diligence. Was it done by the book? No, it wasn't done by the book. But I can't really agree with you, Kevin, that all the taxpayers out there are going to think that the committee was undermining the process, when actually, I mean, I looked at that. Those were some pretty extensive questions. And again, there was nothing that I could see in those questions that would make me feel as though the committee or three members of the committee were doing something underhanded. You know, did they screw up? They did, but there was nothing underhanded to make me think that they were undermining the process of the committee. I mean, again, I can't say enough. Those were like due diligence questions. I thought they were good questions. I mean, Christ, there was a lot of more questions that I would have thought of to ask. So that's my 2 cents.
Jason, you have stuff.
No, I'm here to observe tonight.
Welcome. Welcome. All right. So that was. Oh, go. I'm
Let
sorry.
me just,
Yeah.
on them questions there, you know what they are.
I do. I have.
Okay, I just want to make sure we get everything out.
Yep.
Because I had no idea.
Yep. So part of what the committee did do to follow up on that, what I can say in public, is that the questions were sent out by a group. Answers were brought in. One of the first things they did with the committee, because that issue was brought up, was to read the questions publicly into the minutes. So we made sure that all those questions that were brought up, even though the meeting happened, the questions were sent out prior to the meeting, we made sure we got all that into public information right away. And I actually have sent that out, and I'll be able to show it to you in the non-public, so you'll have all the information from that.
Okay.
How sick was Eric? Is he available by phone?
I don't know.
Okay. We may try that as a non-public just because to get the buy-in of three, if we can, if he's got comfortable answering to address the matter. Because that is, yeah, we want to make sure.
Do the commissioners want to take action on appointing
Mr. Manning to the committee.
Do we have it anywhere else?
Further down on the agenda, there's reports of committees.
Yeah, so in the fire station, we're almost there. Do you have a few minutes to sit through the chief's report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm fine.
So after the
Conduct
chief's report is
businesses.
where it would fall.
Okay.
I respect people's time, so.
No, that's fine.
Alright,
I'm good.
okay. So the next part would be the chief's report, so we'll dive into that.
All right, I'll go through the chief's report. Unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to send it out to you previously, and really just finished doing it today. Knowing that we had the month end and then the year end reports to do and stuff like that. So, ending the year, the operating, we'll start off with the budget. Of course, the books are not closed yet and probably won't be closed till near the end of January, some time frame. We still have outstanding POs and outstanding invoices that are coming in. So far, we've expended 96% of the budget, and so there's 4% of the budget that's still remaining. Some of the outstanding over expenditures of note is the tower on Shed Road. Overtime went over, and of course, gasoline and diesel went over. Under expenditures were in call salaries, legal, and vehicle repairs. Those are the major ones. What's in the total fund in the apparatus and equipment fund is $552,541.65. And ambulance revenue through December is $574,379.99. And that revenue is up almost $49,000 over where what we collected last year. So
Is it because we have more calls, you think? or-
it's a lot of more calls, more transports, a lot of things involved to get us there. Total apparatus and equipment fund balance, the checkbook is $552,541.65. I've already said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Alrighty. You asked me to put another category in the report about hydrant use for the previous month and last month. We
Yep.
didn't use a hydrant at all.
Okay.
Moving on, fire prevention report is 47 inspections for the month of December.
We still have the deputy doing all the inspections, unfortunately.
No, they've been helping a lot more. And
I saw a few other names.
yeah, and we have, each shift is gonna be doing one place of assembly per quarter, so it'll be 16 a year out of the place of, I don't know how exactly how many places of assembly, but we have like 70 or so. But they'll be doing one a quarter, and they're going out and doing more utility inspections for me. So,
Excellent.
and we have slowed down. November was slammed. Everybody was trying to get stuff in, and then December was pretty busy, and we're slowing down on inspections anyway. I think this time of year people are
Just trying to get you into other things. Okay. There was nothing that really jumped out
Yeah.
on that.
Incident reports for the month of December, we had 228 incidents, 155 incidents with EMS in nature, equating to 68% of our total volume for the month. And the engine responded with the ambulance on those incidents 52 times. Any questions there?
I saw that there was a lot of EMS calls on the quick scan that I was able to do.
So it's actually, percentage-wise, less EMS calls last month than the previous month. Overlapping simultaneous calls for the month, we had 150 overlapping simultaneous incidents for the month, equating to 66% of all incidents for the month. We received 8 mutual aid ambulance responses. 6 people were transported of those 8. We responded 7 mutual aid requests, 2 transports, 4 of them were paramedic intercepts.
So we did intercept, paramedic intercept.
We provided paramedics 4 times to the city of Franklin.
Okay.
Is that a billable thing?
No.
No.
Usually.
Okay. Alright.
We received 4 mutual aid engine responses and responded with our engine 5 times mutual aid.
Can I just ask one question? We received 8 mutual aid in the ambulance.
I didn't hear you.
We received 8 mutual aid ambulance response.
Yep.
So we couldn't handle them? I mean, with ours?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Okay.
There are usually 2 reasons why we can't handle simultaneous ambulance runs. It's either more than 2 ambulance runs going on at the same time, or one of our ambulances is out of service for service or repairs.
How often was our ambulances out of service this month?
Wasn't it long? A1 was out for a couple hours for that Knox, that's it.
So just a few hours.
And then the tires.
And then the tires. So it was a couple days where there were times where it was
So
out.
you were down to 1 ambulance?
Yes.
I know at least one time we had 6 calls going on at the same time. I know 2 of those transports.
Yeah,
It
it's just when the
I don't know what the other
round
ones
robin
are.
happens, and it's move what you can.
So one of the things I was looking at over the course of the year, when I was doing a lot of the statistics this year, how many times do we use somebody else's ambulance because one of our ambulances is out of service?
Mhm.
I'm piling that data now, but it's more than I thought it was. So I don't have all the final statistics on that yet, but I'm working on it.
You have a system or the computer and run calls that you can make a report
Yeah,
out
so
of?
I have to run a great big Excel spreadsheet and do a lot of sorting and then double checking to see which ones were transports, which ones were not, and I'm in the middle of doing that right now. So.
Look forward to seeing it.
Me too. The new engine 1 was delivered, the radios are installed, it's waiting to go back to Dingy's. We're just waiting for Dingy to have some of the parts that he's going to be installing on that. When those arrive, we'll send that back to Dingy for the rest of the install. That should be very soon.
So it's not service.
It's not in service.
How long have we been down to 1 engine?
20
Or 1 primary attack piece is
27.
better.
Since the, right around the
Days.
2 days after Christmas.
27?
Yes.
How long do you think it's going to be at Dingy
He said it shouldn't take long.
once the part's in?
Once the pots are in, it'll get there. He'll probably have it for a few days and then we'll have it back. Grants, the Safer grant is up to date on reimbursements. We've received our 4th quarter reimbursement. The Homeland Security grant is in process. It's back to the grants management, and they're checking all our paperwork with all the additional requirements. Once they award you the grant, you gotta give them a whole bunch of more stuff, and they're in the process of reviewing all that right now. I expect to hear back from them shortly.
Question on the Safer grant.
Yes,
So, we budgeted $280,000 for the Safer grant. But so far we've paid out $394,000. I mean, that's $110,000 more, if I'm reading this right. Page 1 of your operating budget versus actual.
I'd rather, without using that, I'd rather use the FEMA spreadsheet that I have, and I don't have that with me,
Okay,
that shows yearly
okay.
expenditures and requests and stuff like that.
So can you send that out to us? And because that's a $110,000 difference, it could very easily be a typo. I'm hoping.
I don't know if that's a typo or,
We received that last quarter. We had.
Yes.
but I know that the first year of Safer, we're gonna under-expend what we budget. The second year should be about the same, and the third year, we'll overexpend. So we.
1.5 times.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at that, the FEMA spreadsheet that I have, that I'm working on. I don't have that. I'll
That's
put
a
it
big
together
follow-up.
and I'll bring it back.
That is a big follow-up, because that's, like I said, 110,000, so it's like 1.2% over, or 120% over, so, yes, please.
Yep. Center Street.
Safer, yeah. So,
After Safer,
Yep.
Center Street, PO has been issued to A and B lot for the cameras. The PO was issued to the Home Beautiful for the floor in the bathroom in Park Street. Park Street, the tower is up, the driveway is finished, the pole is installed, the wires are connected to the pole, and I'm waiting for Eversource to put the transformer in now so that the place is energized.
Building can start.
Yes.
Park Street, anything done with A&D lock issue over there?
No, I looked at to Ring and some of those other things to see, what
Okay.
was the most cheapest way, because obviously if we use a vendor over there, it's gonna be a lot more
Mhm.
expensive.
So you're still looking
I'm
at
still
Ring
looking.
camera system and all that for possible,
It won't be Ring, no, I know that already.
with something of that nature,
Yeah,
a wireless system?
that's what I'm looking at right now.
Okay. So that'll be in next year's budget or part of it.
Going back to the safer effect, what happens, the average response time to second or greater calls is actually, that has changed down to 20 seconds. I just ran all the numbers on that today. Mutual aid transports is way down compared to what they used to be. Our next meeting isn't the 7th, it's, we haven't determined a date, but it's gonna be before the district meeting.
Which is in March.
The cost of a safer firefighter in 2022 would have been 4 cents per thousand in Northfield and 7 cents per thousand in Tilton.
I caught that, I was just trying to see where district meeting was.
It's March 20th.
Okay. Okay.
And of course, we have a warrant article that will go towards changing the apparatus and equipment fund to help offset operating costs.
We'll look at it a little bit later.
Yep. Personnel side, we have one call firefighter waiting for their physical right now, application. And you know about firefighter Galindez, where he's at. We won't see him until June.
Was he on our books already?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so he started with us, has he,
Well,
is he in pre-deployment or is he deployed?
currently,
Right now.
he's still
He's still employed by the
Oh, I think
guard
he deployed,
the,
right?
the
And-
National Guard.
in
Right.
Vermont,
Yeah, he's,
and
Oh.
he's being deployed.
Yeah.
He received his orders.
Okay. How soon?
It's in February.
Okay, so it's an immediate impact on this, where
Yes, it is.
there's not a gap of pre-notice, okay. And what does our department do, if anything, for soldiers besides hold their position under the EE employer?
Yeah,
That's it.
that's all we do,
Okay.
we hold their position.
Okay, so we just have to hold the position.
That's
Yes.
But we can backfill it with a temp if needed,
Yes,
if you find someone, but they have to understand that they're in there just as a temporary for that position unless,
that's correct.
okay.
Working on dry hydrants and cisterns still. Silver Lane, did we end up getting tested out today?
they went up 4 different times, and every single time they got there, they had a call.
Yeah.
So it should be in service. It's ready.
It's ready to go,
We just
haven't
have to
really.
dry test it. They have to do, because they have to drill a hole in the ice. It's all frozen over now, so they
Yeah.
have to drill a hole in the
Yes,
ice.
the vent hole.
It was supposed to be done today.
Of course, the dry hydrant on Sanborn Road isn't gonna happen until the spring because we're waiting for parts. We have those permits in hand. The cistern on Vista Heights, we have the specifications for all the cistern itself, and that should be going in sometime this winter. I also have the easements from our attorney for all of those, and we just getting signatures. So that'll be all set.
Do we have the vault already, or is the vault sitting at the manufacturer and will be
Vault
delivered when we
is-
need it?
Vault's being manufactured.
It's in the process, okay.
I already said that, that's nothing new. The numbers for 2022, page 3,
That's what I wanted. Total is 2243,
yes.
not bad. Busy.
Yeah. 1,152 of those were overlapping, which is 51% of our call volume.
Yeah.
79 fire calls, 1,645 EMS motor vehicle calls, 1,140 transports, 519 other calls. We provided mutual aid of one sort or another 96 times, and we received mutual aid of one sort or another 88 times.
So I brought up, the safer one I brought up. I noticed career salaries and wages and overtime, that we went over budget by 23,000.
And the overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's because of overtime, because of sick and all that, it looks like.
Overtime was over because we had vacancies in the year that,
Okay. Alright, for 23, okay. That's it for the budget side of that, I caught on a quick scan,
okay.
for myself anyways. What questions does Paul have?
Okay, if you want to bring out this sheet
Okay.
that I handed out, this is the draft of our capital improvement plan. Of note, really, what you really want to do is look at page 2, because that's where we are. Page 1 is past years from 2014 to present. And page 2, you'll see what our predictions are for this year and where we're going to land. And that we really have, we're not purchasing any vehicles this year, no plans to do so. The budgeted amounts that are put in by the budget committee recommendation for apparatus and equipment expenditures are in place. And the estimated revenues are in place and showing where our balance will be at the end of the year. Nearly $1 million.
Okay.
So these numbers have to be fine-tuned, but we're in the ballpark here. I have to wait till we get our audit, and our audit will not be done until sometime in March this year.
E4 meeting?
Hopefully,
Hopefully, but it's
yes, it is before meeting, but
it's
Very tightly.
yes.
Okay.
And
All right. You got anything for the chief's report?
And the next thing, this is a draft of the PowerPoint for
Presentation.
the year in review. You don't have to really, there are some things that still need to be changed, like the picture. Engine 2 should be a picture of engine 1, but I don't have a good picture of engine 1 yet.
I'll take this home and just.
Yep,
look at
just
and
take
see.
it home, look through it, see if there's anything you want
Nice.
different, added, changed, things like that, but all the graphs and everything are accurate. It's only the first few pages that are really, we're waiting for audit type of stuff to finish up.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, I wanted to digest with that, with the warrant articles and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Side by side. Luckily, this can be changed. This has no timeline other than up to the meeting for
That's
this one.
correct. And that completes my report for the month.
Thank you, I appreciate that. There's a lot to digest on a real quick scan, but I appreciate it. Alright, reports of the committees. So the first one is the Fire Station Building Committee. So as you heard, the committee met. There was a lot of discussion. Due this Friday to Kathy questions? Questions or?
Yes, questions and scorecards.
Right, so each committee member is gonna do an individual scorecard based on the qualifying criteria we had, and then they're all gonna go to Kathy by the end of Friday to be summarized and brought together before the next meeting, so that the committee can look at it as a whole based on each individual's interpretation of it.
Okay.
With the questions that were returned as well as part of the piece.
Questions for the references.
Oh, yes, and before any references, also, close of business this Friday will be any questions for the references, so that not everyone's going out, and one representative will contact the references offered with questions. It will allow the committee members to get all their questions in so that it's done the proper way. And then it will go out to the committee members after Kathy brings them together for everyone to review it beforehand. And then they can return a yes, no, and then that can go into public minutes the following, as long as everyone is in agreement. If the people are in disagreement on the questions, then it would be a pause to be able to meet in person to approve it.
Okay.
So that we at least have that done the right way on that. And then another part of that is we had a member who was interested in joining from Tilton, where we have 2 vacancies. So the commissioners need to appoint that if they're, and I'm more than willing to make a motion to appoint Dennis Manning to the fire station committee meeting.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I'd
Yeah.
say, I'd take that as a second.
Yeah.
So any other discussion on it?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, you're in.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Now, when will you bring this information to us?
Okay, so next meeting.
So
think it's-
next meeting is February 9th.
February 9th, so that's when they're all gonna meet and put everything together. It's not gonna be going to the public to be voted on this
No,
year.
I know, I understand
Okay.
that.
So the committee is meeting February 9th. And then at that point, they're gonna be doing a review of the scorecard, consolidated discussion of it, if there's any
Yep.
differences. At that point, the bid,
Fees.
the fees, thank you, is the word I was looking for, will be opened. They have still not been opened at this time because we wanted to make all the decisions without any chance of a cost by adjustment factor. So that will be done at that point. And I believe you'll have the references back too.
Yes,
That's why we did it
so-
this way, so we could have, all that will be on the table that day
Okay.
to be
Yes,
discussed.
and
And
hopefully we can,
a special.
At the
Okay,
station meeting,
okay, it's station.
that will be the compilation of everything slammed together.
hopefully we can schedule interviews that night as well, or decide on what night we're gonna have interviews that night as well.
And it's February, I just want to be there to listen to you.
Yep.
Yeah. And what day is it?
It'll be on your calendar.
Okay. Good idea.
So yes, so
Okay.
we'll make sure that the commissioners know they can't make decisions on it, but they can at least hear it firsthand.
Oh, yeah, that's all I know.
Yep. Nope, that's good. And that's really where we're at so far with the fire station, pending the discussion after for the non-public, just how to address it, and then if any action afterwards.
Okay.
So that one might be a follow-up after the non-public. So I'll leave that as open. Okay. And then this next one is Safer Grant Committee, which normally Eric has that. Do you have anything from it?
We haven't met, but we
Okay.
plan on meeting again before the district meeting to compile a report for district meeting. Most of that information's already put together and included in the PowerPoint slides that I handed out tonight with the review.
All right. Nothing else on that. Then we'll move into the warrant articles. Yay. Is this first reading, or do you need them approved tonight?
What you need to do tonight is decide what order you want them in.
Okay. And then the fine tuning of can be done before the next meeting, or?
What will happen is, once you get them in the right order, I will send them to DRA for pre-review.
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
And this mimics the order that you had them in last year.
Yeah. Which commissioner is up for this year?
Me.
Paul Oja.
Yes.
And I think I'm next year.
Eric, you're
Okay.
in 25. You just got elected.
Did I? I can't-
Yes.
I can't keep track. It's too much. So that's the order. The order is Paul Oja, Eric Pyra, John Silly.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. So that is different than I had that understanding of from our discussion. Alright. Choose a clerk.
We still need a clerk.
Do we have a clerk for this year? Did we scare her away, or?
She's begging to be out of it.
So for the public, anyone that's interested, there is an open position for a clerk, which there is a payment or a stipend for, if someone would like to jump in. Just put it out there. Alright. Accept reports of treasurers and commissioners, that's, I believe a DRA has to be up in that criteria. Those first couple, I believe,
Yes,
are
those three.
The
absolute.
first 3 are
Yeah.
nothing,
Those are must.
yes.
Alright.
And then the rest of them are to go to DRA.
Okay, so Article 4 currently on here is add to the land and building fund. These are drafts, so, but.
Yes, it is a draft, that's why we're putting in the right, no, there's only
11, 12,
12, 13.
13?
13 is any other business, so
Okay.
that's a non,
Alright, so the add to the land and building fund, it's, see if district will vote and raise the appropriate sum of $100,000 to be added to the land and building capital reserve fund, previously established, recommended by the Board of Commissioners, well, we don't have that part yet, I believe.
what?
Recommended by and not recommended by?
Yes, that's on there.
It's current and accurate,
Yes.
okay.
This is right up to date.
Okay. So in that case, this article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and it's not recommended by the Budget Committee, okay? The next one is a fire prevention expendable trust fund to see if the department will vote to raise the appropriate sum of $9,627 for the purpose of adding to the existing fire prevention expendable trust fund, with said funds to be withdrawn from the unassigned fund balance. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Alright, so, and then the one,
Is that the amount we had last year?
No. It fluctuates every year by the amount of
what do you bring?
fees that are brought in.
And the fees, they're, where are they pulled from? He gets them from fire inspections
Fire
and.
inspections, yes, it's like permits for
That's what I thought, yeah. Inspections and permits.
inspections. Yeah, yes, it's mostly the permits. We don't charge, like for an electrical inspection, we don't charge for that.
Okay. Alright, and then the second half of that, so it does have to be behind it, is the fire prevention budget. See if the district will vote and raise the appropriate the sum of $2,302 for the purpose of purchasing materials, tools, equipment related to public education, code enforcement, training, etc. With said funds to be withdrawn from the fire prevention expendable trust fund. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. So those two are in the proper order, whether they stay way up front or way back. Health insurance is based on a percentage, right?
Actually, it's kept at 5,500, and what this amount is what was expended.
So this is bringing it up
It's
to
bringing
your,
it back to 5,500.
so you're bringing it to your cap of 5,500.
Yes.
Yes.
So the health insurance deductible expendable trust fund is, expendable? No, I didn't read that right. Expendable trust fund, okay. Interesting. See if the district will vote and raise the appropriate sum of $1,811 for the purpose of adding to the existing health insurance deductible expendable trust fund, there we go.
Yes.
With said funds to be withdrawn from the unassigned fund balance, funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and recommended by the Budget Committee, and that is the difference to bring it to the cap of 5,500 for
Yes.
use. All right. Article 8, add to the dry hydrant cistern expendable trust fund to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the dry hydrant cistern expendable trust fund previously established. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is not recommended by the Budget Committee. Article 9, establish a contingency fund to see if the district will vote to establish a contingency fund per RSA 31:98-A to raise and appropriate $28,180 to put in the fund. The sum to come from the unassigned fund balance. Any appropriations left in this fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. The article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. So this is a basic contingency fund and it's based on a percentage of the budget, I believe.
Correct. Last year's budget.
Yep, and that's how that number came to be for 28,000. Okay. Article 10, amendment to apparatus and equipment replacement fund. All right, to see if the district will vote to amend the provisions of RSA 31:95-C, which was adopted March 7th of 2020. There's a catch.
Yeah,
It's a 05.
It's not 2025.
No, it's 05.
Okay.
I've been correcting,
Yep, so
Typos
that's
as
why
I
we're
go.
kind of reading them out as we see it, and we'll catch them. Okay. To restrict the revenues from the ambulance billings to expenditures for the purpose of apparatus and equipment replacement. Ambulance billing services, advanced medical training, vehicle and equipment maintenance, repairs, and service and testing. Such revenues and expenditures shall be accounted for in a special fund to be known as apparatus replacement and equipment fund. This fund would be separate from the general fund. Any surplus is said in said fund shall not be deemed part of the general fund, accumulated surplus, and shall be expended only after a vote by the fire district at a district meeting to appropriate a specific amount from said funds for a specific purpose related to the purpose of the fund or source of revenue. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. This also requires a 2/3 majority ballot vote required. So this will set up a fund, and it has to be, anything taken from this fund has to be voted on by the fire district at the annual meeting.
which is what we do now.
Yep.
We're just
But it's-
changing the purpose.
Changing the purpose to include, for clarification,
The italicized is
Yes.
the new part.
To include vehicle and equipment maintenance,
Thank you.
repairs, and service testing.
okay, so it's just bringing a little bit of the vehicles into it as well. All right, then Article 11, apparatus and equipment replacement fund budget. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate $188,719 for the purpose of purchasing fire, rescue, EMS equipment, and ambulance charges, with said funds to be drawn from the apparatus and equipment replacement special revenue fund established under RSA 31:95-C, which was adopted March 7th of 2005. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. All right, now the big one. So far, I'm comfortable with the order of these all. Then Article 12, the operating budget, the one that everyone wants. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee's recommended sum of $3,012,659 for general municipal operations. This article does not include appropriations contained in special or individual articles addressed separately. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote is required. All right, Article 13 is to transact any other business.
On page 3, it's just hanging
Yeah.
out there.
So, and then we have, right now, there's not been any movement on pressurized hydrants with the water district. So that is a questionable thing out there still. Have we heard anything from the attorney? Any correspondences on that? I didn't see correspondence.
No.
But we did have correspondence, I jumped right over it, I'm sorry.
My correspondence with the attorney this week was on the easements for those
Okay.
dry hydrants and systems.
And do we have any scheduled court time?
Nope.
Okay. And we haven't heard anything from the water district in any fashion?
Other than receiving bills.
Okay. So we're kind of still at an impasse. Okay.
So I expect, once the auditors audit our last year, they're gonna take what the water district billed us and wanna put some of that away aside. for-
Where we already have funds set aside.
Yeah, they're just gonna add to that number. That's like what I suspect, but I don't know. We'll have to wait till the auditors have their
Okay.
hand at it.
You have any thoughts on the order?
No, looks good to me.
Okay. I think that, there you go. I'm comfortable with the order.
Okay. I'm gonna double check on the name of the apparatus and equipment replacement fund.
Yeah.
Because it reads weird.
Yeah.
When you say apparatus replacement equipment fund, we're doing apparatus and equipment replacement.
Right, yeah. And it could have been how I read it, but it was very wordy, so.
Yeah.
It could have been the reader.
No, it is actually that wordy.
All right. New business, anything that we need to bring up as new business? I saw that you did some training, you've done some water training with the full-timers and the.
And the call company. Yep,
Call
we went up
company
to
got a
the,
night shift in there too.
Yep, so the call company trainings are usually Monday nights, typically, not always,
Yep.
but typically. And so we did it at the Vets Home Pond, and it was perfect. It was perfect ice, and we kept breaking through. You'd post hole through it. It was the perfect time of year. We got a great training out of it.
Okay. I cannot think of anything in my mind on new business right now, because we're so buried in the other things. Can you think of anything that might come to mind?
At this moment.
Okay. All right.
We couldn't think of anything either.
Good. That's a good thing. Minutes. I did read the minutes last time.
Okay, hold on.
Do you have the public and non-public, or just
I
the
don't
public?
have the public, but I do
Okay.
have the non-public.
All right.
One for you and one for
Yep.
John.
Commissioners 12-6, there it is.
Yes.
It's not allowing me to pull them down.
I deleted my old account, I was hacked.
That's what I was wondering.
All right.
Did you read the pop-up?
So what?
Did you do the pop-up?
I cannot pull down the public, and that was a while ago, so I'm not comfortable. So we might table that one.
Okay.
Let's look at this one real quick. Roll call, non-public. Monthly disposition report, oh, okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the non-public meeting on 12/6/22.
Okay. And I will second it. Any discussion on it? I mean, essentially it was just disposition reports that have to be acted upon.
Yeah.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2-0. So at least you got the non-public. We'll hold off on the public until Eric's back next time too, just to let everyone have a chance to read it.
Okay.
All right. You assigned manifests. 2 of us have signed them already.
Yes.
Next meeting date for the commissioners is February 7th. And then February 15th, we have set up for a public hearing. And where are we doing that?
I've sent a request to the PD for the conference room, and I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay. So is that the only meeting we have to have in advance? Or,
I am researching to see if we have to have a public hearing to change the purpose of the apparatus and equipment fund.
would it be too late to do it at the same meeting?
That's something I'm gonna be checking on.
Okay. I mean, if we can do it at the same meeting, that's great.
That
If
would
we
be
don't have to,
awesome.
yeah, so it meets the timelines. I don't know policy on it, but somehow we have to have open dialogue with the water district. We have to figure out what route that can happen. I know right now everything is communication through the attorneys, but this is just an ongoing thing, so somewhere down the road, it's gonna come to a point. I mean, it's 2 years now.
Yep.
So the longer we drag our feet, the more it's gonna cost.
Right.
And I can't
Oh, it's
understand why they don't see that.
The public hearing at 6.
I mean, we gotta settle on something, because it can go on and on and on
Right.
and on.
I believe in the agreement that was signed, the agreement is still in force, it just wasn't funded. But there was a section of the agreement that says if it wasn't funded, that the next step would be mediation again.
The first one or the second one that we
The
agreed at the
sec-
first mediation?
This, the second one.
Okay, so the agreement at the mediation that was agreed on at that time relied on a vote to pass, and if not, then now we have to go back to mediation a second time.
Yes.
So we're gonna be like Congress, and we're gonna have 5 votes and nothing happened.
Probably. Well, that would,
I'm sorry.
I can't see into the future, but
All right.
I can,
It seems to me, last time mediation, they only had, was there one or two there? I thought,
two commissioners,
From the water
their
company.
attorney and John.
I thought there was only,
No, there was 2. They had
Was
to
it?
have. They had to have a.
They didn't.
Majority.
They were down one water commissioner at the time. And I don't know what that status is right now either.
Okay. So yeah, let's have the attorney say, "Don't hey, we have to be. We know that we're still. This isn't a bypass of the court. We know that because they're not going to derail from that. We know where they're going with that. But we need to start talking about something of usage or some Band-Aid in here, other than going after trying to shut off the buildings." Because they are due some money. We have used it in the past. There is some. We need to try and come to terms or set up another mediation, and we get to all be there again.
I'll contact the attorney and
Yeah,
let you know
I
what.
just, we just,
yeah, we can't go on and on and on. I mean,
yeah. Eventually something has to work one way or the other, either a court date or mediation or whatever, so yeah.
I agree, it's like the song that never ends, right?
Yeah, at least then we can have an update at the March meeting of the status. It won't be resolved. I have no faith in that, but at least we would have an update for the public.
Okay.
Yeah, that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so, that being the case, the only other thing, I will give it's not on here, but any public comment a second time? And then we will go into non-public after that, and then resume the meeting after that, but
Do you have non-public minutes on the table in a public meeting?
you can read them the way they are. The way they're written, you can approve them, because it's not going into the
I
detail.
didn't say you couldn't.
Yeah.
Just asked if you did.
We did, yes.
The second thing I want to say is I want to remind you that as sure as everyone in this room right now is breathing, 2 of the 3 people involved in that wrongdoing absolutely knew what they were doing,
Understood.
and they knew it was wrong.
Yep.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Absolutely. And I have the details of it that we'll be discussing. All right.
I just had one other quick question.
Go
I
for
heard, I heard you guys mention something about the apparatus and equipment fund changing its usage.
Yes.
I was wondering what that might entail.
To include some maintenance of the vehicles in it as part of that
Oh,
cost.
okay. Check what I do.
Just, I think that's kind of where it was. It's
Yep.
taking some of those maintenance costs and putting
Mhm.
in there as part of the apparatus.
Okay.
Not going hog wild with it,
No,
but
that's cool. I was just, I was,
Yep,
I
no,
was really
good question.
curious.
Good question, but because you're not the, I'm sure other people will ask the same thing, and this is just to help offset maybe some of the maintenance on. with
No,
that
that's cool.
fund.
I've just heard some wild ideas in the past, and I was just,
I hope this isn't too wild yet.
no, no, no.
No, it's to include the service testing.
Right.
that's
No,
done
I heard in the
annually
past
as
totally,
well.
totally changing it and using it elsewhere. So that's why I was like, no, that's cool.
Okay. This would amount to about, taking about $70,000 out of the operating budget and moving it into the apparatus and equipment budget.
Mhm.
And the idea behind that was to help offset the cost of the safer employees when they come off the grant funding.
Well, I'm cool with that.
Okay. Second shot. You got anything?
No, I learned a lot tonight, though.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I know you're usually tied up and can't come on the Tuesday meetings, just like Kevin and all that, but
Yeah, I was curious about where things are going to our next town meeting, or, you know, annual meeting.
In your district meeting?
Yep.
Yeah.
With the articles and stuff,
Okay.
I just kinda wanted to get up.
So that kinda helped a little bit, we're reading them out at first read.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. And something to bring up, I know he just left, is right now Northfield does not have a representative in the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid Association, a voting representative. There is a vacancy, so when things like that happen, and if they have close votes on payrolls and things like that, it could come down to that one vote. It could make a difference, so it's something just to mention to the selectmen that they can appoint anyone to that position, if they so choose. But Northfield hasn't had for a year or 2 years.
Wayne Crowley was the last person that represented.
What's that position again?
It's called a director from the town, and the director is the person that represents the town at the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid Board of Directors meeting, and there's one director from every municipality that's a member of Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, so it's around 35 municipalities, 36. And it's usually the fire chief that's a representative from the community, but anyone can represent the community, it doesn't have to be the fire chief.
So the chief represents Tilton, but a while ago Northfield opted to not allow that or change that role, so there's been a vacancy since. So as a selectman, it just food for thought while you're here. Something to consider going back.
Yeah.
And if you guys do come up and talk to Chief Kathy about how, if you do ever appoint someone, how they would get involved and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So,
If you have any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them. I'm the president of Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, so
Okay.
you get all the answers, at least in that respect.
but yeah, so there's a voting vacancy that to consider. All right. So that being the case, I'll move my paperwork around with my reading. All right. We are going to go into non-public. Did you by chance have a printed copy that I can spew off? Or? One of these days I'm going to keep a draft right on my iPad so I can.
Which one are you gonna go in it? Under?
I need to look that part up. I think it's going to be A3 because reputation based on the discussion and all that. I think that's the reason why I'm going to go that way. We don't want to adversely reputation of people while we figure out the outcome. Does that sound logical? Okay.
It's an iffy situation that
Okay.
you're going into non-public on.
Thank you,
Well-
Dennis.
No, the
Thank you.
reason is because it could be people that are not part of the commissioners, their reputation. So that's why I interpret it that way. Do you see something different?
C,
Okay, what do you get for C?
it's what you normally do.
It has nothing to do with that part.
The first part of it does.
Yes, but that's more of a thing versus a who. And this is, the complaint being brought forward is a who, which
Right.
is why I'm looking at,
And if you're going to be discussing a who, they should be notified so that they can be here if they wish.
well, I know that they were notified at that meeting that was being brought up here tonight.
But were they told it was gonna go non-public?
No.
And that's my only comment about that.
Mm-hmm. So,
Would it, even though they're not here, you can still discuss
Yes, you
what
can.
was said,
mhm.
Yes, you
who it
can.
was, and then take action, ask them to come in and take
Yeah,
action.
you could, because you
You
could
can
take
do that.
action or they could appeal the decision. Because really, RSA 91-A3, 2A is where it does have those clauses in that you're talking about. that dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any employee, public employee, disciplining of such employee, this is not an employee per
Right.
se, and it's not a dismissal, or the investigation of any charge against him or her unless the employee affected. And this is where we do get into, they do have the right to a public meeting and to request a meeting be open, but that's, okay, they're allowing it to be public on that one. 2C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any persons other than a member of this board, and that's why I'm leaning towards that, unless such person requests an open meeting, so we would have to notify them to make it an open meeting, to your point. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of fee, which we're not going into any financials of it, fine or other levy if based on an inappropriate. So I know normally we use this for disposition,
Right.
but because of reputation also is why I will stand on this one, unless Paul thinks differently.
So you want to stay with C?
I'm gonna stay with C.
That's the best choice.
And that, just because it's the who and not the what. And
Right.
that's the reason why I will do that, and our attorney can yell at me if I'm wrong. Hopefully it doesn't charge us a lot.
And they're not a public employee.
Yes, please.
So, so I agree with what you just said, and when we've dealt with these before, it's common to start out with a meeting, a non-public meeting without the person there, discuss it, and then you can bring them in, and that at that point they can request, because you got to give them a chance to defend themselves.
Yep.
So at that point they could request it to be public.
Okay.
So usually they don't, but so I think it's going to be a two-part.
Okay.
Right.
So this could lead into a two-part issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you got to give them a chance to defend themselves.
But at least this will get you caught up, and we are going to try calling Eric on phone
Yep.
and see if we can, so to update the commissioners on what transpired.
Yep.
And then from there, maybe a path towards, like you said, okay, addressing the matter at a opportunity. But I think the commissioners need to be updated on what happened.
That's right. Yep.
If that sounds good to.
Yep.
I've taken input, please. All right. So, let's see it for 1 second, sorry. So the date being 1/4/23, present are myself and Paul, and are we able to try and call Eric on a phone by speaker and see if he can be remote? We still have majority of the members present, so we're covered on that part of the equation. But if he's well enough to at least listen in, and I made the motion, by the way, just to make it easier on that part of it.
I assume you're seconding it.
A second.
There we go. I just thought that would be easier if I did that.
If he doesn't answer, do you want me to leave a message?
Yes, please. So I can't contact him, but you can kind of take notes and update him on, because if I do, then it's majority.
Welcome to the U.S. Cellular voicemail, 603-731-1.
Just call him back tomorrow. All right, so currently present is Paul Ogier, John Silly. Motion was made by John Silly, seconded by Paul Ogier. Once again, just to clear it up from what we did earlier, the motion was made to go into non-public based on RSA 91-A:3, 2C. Matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any persons other than a member of this board, unless such persons request an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. All right, so roll call to enter non-public. Paul?
Yes.
John Silly, yes. Okay, at this point, the time is 6:32. We are going to stop the recording.
I hit the red one or the stop one?
The one on the left.
7:03. Close enough. 7:05.
What did I do wrong?
Push the red.
Oh, I had to push it twice, yeah. There we go, it's counting down.
Okay. So, both have been restarted. We have come back into public session at 7:05. I am going to make a motion to seal these minutes.
I'll second it.
By JC, PA. Okay, and because it is determined that divulging of this information would adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board. Roll call vote to seal the minutes. Paul?
Yes.
Myself, yes. The motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it did pass. These minutes recorded by JC. All right, I actually did my paperwork on time. All right, so, as we resumed in public, so a matter was brought up before the board earlier about the station committee and information going out without the committee's prior approval. The commissioners present at this time have determined that we would like to meet with the members of the station committee at our next meeting, which is February 7th, where we can discuss the matter with all the members of the committee, and then the commissioners can decide what the next step would be. If the committee is unable to meet in majority on the 7th, then the commissioners will schedule a special meeting on the 9th prior to the station committee to meet them at their meeting and to address the matter and what the next step might be. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to adjourn. We don't need a motion
Oh,
on that.
okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye, aye.
Meeting adjourned at?
And we,
7:07.
7:07. Thank you, Chief. All right.
Thank you.
And that's yours. All right. So we can shut that off. We can shut that off.
This one's shut off.
Okay.